I spent 5 years looking after Mia, who was paralyzed. On our wedding day, she just bailed on me without a second thought and ran off with her first love. I glanced at the vibrant red invite on the table and coolly said, "Congrats." But she flipped out, begging me not to leave her. As I fixed my tie for the seventh time, Mia showed up. My folks let out a sigh of relief. It felt like we'd all been holding our breath since the ceremony began. She approached, forcing a smile hard. The MC had been dragging his feet for half an hour, trying to keep things smooth. Finally, he rushed over the rings. Hoping to wrap things up quickly, I grabbed the ring, ready to slip it on her finger. But just then, the chapel doors burst open. Mia. Hearing that voice, Mia's hand flinched like she'd been hit. I followed her stare and saw Leo standing there, backlit. As he stepped closer, I noticed how eerily pale he looked. His lips were ghostly, and he exuded pure despair. But his eyes were blazing bright as they locked onto Mia. "Mia, I'm sorry I'm late." Mia's eyes immediately welled up. When she looked back at me, guilt was written all over her face. I didn't need her to say anything. I knew why she chose him. I laughed bitterly and squeezed my left hand tightly. The sound of chopsticks clattering broke the silence in the hall, and whispers started to spread. My fingers unconsciously rubbed the ring in my palm. It was her favorite brand and style. We'd picked it out together, symbolizing forever. We just stood there, staring at each other. I was on stage. She was off it. I didn't push her. I wanted her to marry me willingly. Leo coughed a few times at just the right moment, almost begging as he looked at Mia. Suddenly, Mia took 2 steps closer to me. "Hero, I'm sorry, but Leo needs me now." "What about me?" I thought, "Mia, I need you too." All those years of being there for her were overshadowed by Leo's simple words. She stopped looking at me, turned around, and firmly grabbed Leo's hand, running toward the light streaming in from the door, like it was the happiness she'd been waiting for. I stood there watching them walk away, not even once looking back. Mia and I go way back, childhood sweethearts since our parents were tight. In elementary school, Mia's uncle had business troubles and chose to end it all. The home was dark, and Aunt Mia cried every day. A few days later, Mia followed suit. She became this pitiful figure, like a bird with broken wings stuck in the mud. She couldn't fight her bad luck or even protect herself, always bowing her head and shrinking away from people. She wasn't much of a talker, and relatives saw her as a burden, moving her from one place to another. Finally, my parents, feeling bad for her, took Mia into our home. At first, I wasn't a fan. She was taking some of my parents' love, but they kept saying Mia was a sad kid with nothing and no one else but us. Even if we did everything, her heart wounds wouldn't heal. Slowly, looking out for Mia became second nature. Seeing her get brighter each day made me happy too. Back then, Mia loved to cling to me, often stubbornly shaking my arm and not letting me hang out with others. She'd say she only had me, and if I chose someone else, she wouldn't see any point in living. Every time she said that, it hurt my heart. She'd declare that only I could marry her, no one else was allowed. How could I ever choose anyone but her? It was always her. But after high school, things changed. She fell for someone else. I first heard about Leo on my birthday, the first time she didn't spend it with me. She went out to the suburbs instead. I was so freaked out, didn't even get to blow out the candles before rushing out to find her. When I did, she was snuggled up with Leo, playing with sparklers in the soft light. She looked up at Leo like he was her entire world. My heart clenched, and I almost bolted in panic. That guy Leo, always with his super long hair, surrounded by rowdy folks, obsessed with speed and thrills. Someone so flaky and irresponsible. What could he possibly offer Mia? I'd been protecting her, offering her everything she needed almost automatically. So, naturally, I went to warn Leo, told him he wasn't good enough for Mia and to stay away if he wanted compensation. I was even ready to give him money. That night, Mia stormed into my room and threw a bank card at me. "Hero, Leo and I aren't as lucky as you, but we still have our dignity. You think humiliating him will make me choose you? You really piss me off." I wanted to explain, but my throat was too dry for words. I couldn't believe it. This was the girl I'd protected since we were kids, the one I'd loved for so long. She said I made her sick. Sick. Mia looked at me angrily. From now on, it's none of your business, or I'll die with Leo. My vision blurred, and I collapsed onto the bed. She was gone like a gust of wind. Turns out, I never really held her, never truly understood her. I thought she was a flower needing protection, sunlight, and rain, but she was a free spirit. That night, she didn't come home, and I didn't go out to find her. It felt like I lost the reason to chase her. This decision haunted me for years. I didn't sleep that night, just sat on the couch, waiting for her until dawn. The next time I heard about her, she was in a hospital bed, wrapped in bandages, unrecognizable. She was proud and vain. Leo had taken her street racing the night before, and they crashed on a curve. Her whole body was fractured, and her legs couldn't stand. After the accident, Leo vanished. It was a street cleaner who called 911. I regretted it so much I slapped myself twice, blood seeping from the corners of my mouth. Then I wiped my tears and stayed by Mia's side. I was determined to help her walk again. I started helping Mia with her rehab, restoring her appearance. She fell countless times and cried a ton, and I was always there. When the pain got too much, she'd bite my arm, leaving it bloody and raw, then cry and apologize. Whenever she lost hope after another fall, she'd dump her food on me, but I didn't mind. Mia would say, "Hero, when I get better, I'll marry you. I'll wear the most beautiful dress and be the most stunning bride. And you'll give me the perfect wedding." I always smiled and agreed, looking forward to the day she'd marry me. Honestly, every second we were together, whether Mia could stand or not, I wanted to marry her. We stuck it out for 5 years and created a miracle. Mia could finally walk normally. We dated, got engaged, and eagerly awaited our wedding day like any loving couple. But the night before the wedding, Mia got a message without saying a word and rushed out. I knew who it was. Besides Leo, couldn't think of anyone else. I stood by the window, watching them hold each other tightly, like star-crossed lovers caught in the rain. When she came back, she didn't say anything, and I pretended nothing happened. Wanted to make one last bet. A bet that they were just saying goodbye. A bet that all those years together weren't for nothing. But it seemed I lost. Maybe I never won. I took a deep breath, forced a polite smile, and grabbed the mic from the MC. "Everyone, sorry, but today's wedding is canceled. But please enjoy the food and drinks and have a good time." My parents looked upset but didn't scold me. My mom held me close, quietly crying. I kept smiling, trying to comfort them. Didn't need to ask around. I already knew our family had become a laughingstock. I wasn't scared of the gossip, just felt sorry for my parents, who poured their hearts into 2 kids, only to get heartbroken by both. Seeing the wrinkles on my parents' faces, I realized how much they'd aged. For years, I'd focused entirely on Mia, with her occupying my heart and mind. I'd forgotten how long it had been since I spent quality time with my parents. "Mom, Dad, I'm sorry. From now on, I'll spend more time with you." My mom gently patted my head like when I was a kid and said, "All right, our hero is the most filial child. In a few days, I'll find a good girl for you and you'll go on a date." My dad chimed in, "Exactly, how could our son not have someone?" I smiled helplessly, not wanting to talk about it. Since the wedding, I hadn't returned to the house Mia and I had bought together. I wondered if it was time to sell it. Didn't expect Mia to show up at my parents' house, crying and still speaking so bluntly. "Hero, are you still mad? About the wedding? I'm sorry, but Leo's sick. Cancer. Doctors say he might only have 3 months left. Hero, we can't be so selfish. Let me stay with him." "Okay, just for this short time. When I come back, we can have our wedding." "All right." I softly asked her, "How long is a short time? Until he dies? A week? A month? A year?" A slap. I slightly turned my head as a burning pain spread across my face. Mia's long nails had scratched my eyelid and a drop of blood fell onto my lashes. I slowly touched my face, realizing what happened. Mia stared at me with hatred in her eyes. It seemed even this slap wasn't enough to ease her anger. I chuckled softly. You can keep hitting me until you're satisfied. She froze, her brows slightly furrowed. I didn't mean to. I believed she didn't intend to. It was her instinct to protect Leo. At that thought, the wound on my eyelid hurt so much my heart trembled, eyes burned, and nose ached. I'm sorry. She tried to explain, but couldn't find the right words. How could she explain this? Even I couldn't explain feelings. I also didn't get why. Even though Leo showed up late, Mia loved him deeply. My mom looked at me pityingly, angrily calling Mia an ungrateful jerk and telling her to leave. Mia didn't move, just stood there with tears, looking at me. In the past, whenever she looked at me like this, I'd agree to whatever she wanted. But this time couldn't tell if her tears were real. Mia, let's break up. My heart ached, but there was a long-lost sense of relief. Mia suddenly got furious. Hiro, are you threatening me? I shook my head. No point in threatening you anymore. No one will wait for you forever. I'm human too, and I get tired. She looked thoughtfully, trying to gauge how much of what I said was true. Are you mad because I went with Leo? I already explained it to you. He's sick. We have a lifetime together, but he only has a few days left. Hiro, you're so kind. You understand, right? I nodded. Yeah, but what I'm talking about now is our relationship, Mia. I don't want to continue this anymore. She suddenly smiled. Hiro, I know you're angry. Calm down first. I won't bother you for the next few days. With that, she left like she was fleeing. Mia thought I was throwing a tantrum. I was shocked how all the years of attachment and reluctance seemed to vanish the moment she tossed the ring away, like morning mist disappearing with the sunrise. Lately, I've been tagging along with my mom to visit old friends and hitting up various matchmaking dinners set up for me. To help my parents move on faster, I had to put on a brave face and go along with it. I just saw off a woman who, like me, was forced into the situation and wasn't keen on a relationship. Mentally and physically drained from the matchmaking scene, a woman beside me offered a cigarette. I looked closer. Is that Sarah? Yeah, she said with a playful smile. Her demeanor was sharp and confident. I relaxed a bit. Want to grab a bite? My treat. She nodded, signaling me to go inside. Sarah was my high school classmate and also Mia's close friend back then. There were rumors she was a habitual thief, and I often told Mia to steer clear of her. But Mia, being the loyal friend she was, defended Sarah fiercely. So my impression of Sarah was pretty negative. I never thought I'd willingly ask her out for a meal, but during that dinner, a seed of doubt was planted in my mind. Sarah had changed a lot, no longer shy but witty and funny. She mentioned she'd been involved in protecting endangered animals and even faced real danger. By the end of the meal, I could hardly recognize the old Sarah I knew. She'd seen the world, experienced so much more than I had. Noticing the thick calluses on her palms, I couldn't help but admire her deeply. As I drove her home, I said, "Let's have dinner again sometime. I want to hear more about the world I've never seen. I've been stuck here for too long." She nodded playfully, but I didn't expect it to happen so soon. On Monday, when I went to work, I saw Sarah. She was my new assistant. Since Sarah started at the company, the vibe at work improved a lot. She showed another side of herself, gentle, attentive, always treating everyone with kindness. She was also super professional and emotionally stable. Recently, the company had been struggling with a project. Communication with the other side was tough, and everyone was getting discouraged. Sarah, with a smile, bought coffee for the team and told everyone to take a few days off. Somehow, she made a call, and the other party agreed to talk with us. It was a pleasant surprise. When our coworkers teased her, she playfully flicked her hair and said, "I've got my ways." Because of a business trip related to this project, I had to go back to my former marital home to sort out some things. In a hurry, I brought Sarah along. As we went upstairs, she joked, "Is this going to be awkward?" I chuckled. It's just a house, an empty one at that. I had no hesitation in opening the door and letting Sarah in. But as soon as we walked in, we saw Mia and Leo sitting on the sofa, holding hands and watching TV affectionately. In the room, by the TV, was still the music box I'd once bought for Mia. The vase we picked out together was now empty on the dining table. Even our wedding photo still hung on the wall. Mia had trampled over our past. This was the home we had planned to live in together, and she couldn't wait to bring another man into it. I pointed at the wedding photo and asked, "Do you need me to take it down for you?" Mia looked a bit embarrassed, but tried to keep it together. "Don't get it twisted. We don't have anything going on. I don't want to hear about your business. But this house is up for sale soon, so I'll have to ask you both to leave." I turned to Sarah and instructed, "Get this house listed tomorrow." Mia's hysteria stopped. She stared at Sarah in disbelief. Sarah had changed so much that even her former best friend couldn't recognize her. "Mia, long time no see." Mia's initial fierceness quickly turned to unease, and she looked at us searchingly. "Hero, why are you with her? Does it matter to you?" That comment successfully enraged Mia, and she lunged at Sarah, trying to hit her. I reacted fast, blocking her, but without realizing my strength, I pushed Mia to the ground. I instinctively wanted to help her up, but then held back. "Sorry, I didn't mean to lose control, but Mia, you need to apologize to Sarah." Mia looked at me, bewildered. "Apologize? You want me to apologize to her?" I nodded. She stubbornly lifted her head to look at me, her eyes slowly filling with tears, the same look she always used to make me back down. But now, seeing her tears, all I felt was annoyance. Seeing that I wasn't moved, Mia dropped her pretense of grievance and restraint. "Hero, I'll never apologize to a thief." I glanced nervously at Sarah, but she seemed unfazed. "Mia, when you leave, please leave the key. I'll sell the house as soon as possible." She seemed to grasp my resolve and, after a moment of silence, crouched on the floor and burst into loud sobs. In all these years, I'd never seen her like this, and I awkwardly thought of comforting her. Leo finally seemed to snap out of it and shoved me aside to help Mia up. "Cough, cough, Hero. How can you treat Mia like this, just because she didn't marry you for my sake? No matter what, she's still your sister. How can you be so heartless?" The smugness in his eyes stung me. He was laughing at me, laughing at how all these years of companionship had become a joke, laughing at how our deep affection had turned worthless. "Get out." Leo's chest heaved, his face turning ashen as he began coughing violently. Mia glared at me hatefully, grabbed Leo and stormed out. She turned back and shouted, "Hero, you've gone too far. It's just a broken-down house, and you're using it to humiliate us. We'll leave right now, and I'll never come back. You better not regret this." I wearily leaned against the sofa, the argument giving me a headache. Sarah hesitated before coming over to support me, softly reminding me, "We need to get to the airport." Sarah handles work with ease. With her around, negotiations are super efficient. She speaks several languages, and her wine critiques make the other party nod in agreement. I couldn't understand why someone like her would have stolen things back in school, but now, I admit I'm drawn to her, curious to know more. Just as my curiosity was blooming, Mia sent me a video late at night. In the video, Sarah was on a yacht, wearing a figure-hugging gown, gracefully holding a glass of wine. I couldn't hear what she was saying to the 3 or 4 men around her, but she was laughing freely and openly. Mia said, "Hero, don't be fooled by her. I'll be waiting for you at home." I clenched my phone tightly. What kind of person is Sarah? Really? Sarah transferred to our school during our second year of high school. Back then, she was always quiet, very pretty, but not very talkative, and her grades were exceptional. Later, some classmates noticed she was often picked up and dropped off by luxury cars. Because of these rumors, she became even more silent and had no friends. But Mia started sticking to her like glue, and I occasionally got to talk to her. In my memory, Sarah was particularly gentle, with dimples when she smiled. One day on the way home, Mia secretly told me that Sarah's mom was the mistress of a rich guy, although I was surprised. I knew it wasn't right to comment on someone else's private affairs and reminded Mia not to spread it around. But somehow the rumor spread, and everyone knew about it. Mia even blamed me in front of Sarah for spreading it. To prove my innocence, I investigated the source of the rumor. To my shock, it pointed back to both Mia and me. I could swear on anything that I never said a word, not even in my sleep. Given how fiercely Mia accused me, she obviously didn't say anything either. Could someone have overheard us talking? In the end, the matter was left unresolved. Sarah soon transferred to another school, and we only heard occasional updates about her winning awards, going abroad, but no one knew the specifics. On the last day of the business trip, the project team finally got a chance to relax, and everyone rushed to a bar. Sarah, when drunk, was both clingy and adorable, refusing to be dragged off the sofa. I rarely saw her like this. Holding back my laughter, I managed to get her back to the hotel. Finally, a sigh of relief. After settling her on the bed, I went to the bathroom to wet a towel, planning to wipe her face. When I came out, Sarah was sitting upright on the edge of the bed, her eyes unfocused as she stared at me. I chuckled and handed her the towel. "Drunk girl, if you're awake, wipe your face yourself." She didn't move and suddenly spoke. "Hero, I like you." "What?" She sniffled, eyes wide, taking deep breaths and even giving herself a little pep talk. Her adorable expression made me laugh again. "I liked you from the moment I first saw you after transferring in the second year. Even after all these years, I still like you. Back then, you were with Mia, but now you're single. Can I chase after you now?" She likes me. Amid my shock, I felt a faint sweetness in my heart. But before I could gather my thoughts, Sarah slumped back onto the bed and quickly fell asleep. I was left sitting there, unsettled and lost in thought. I carefully considered my feelings for Sarah. After spending time with her these past few days, it would be a lie to say I wasn't moved. Her charm is impossible to ignore, and being with her makes me feel like there's so much I can do. I don't feel powerless, helpless, or resigned. She's the kind of girl who brings vitality to those around her. I think anyone would be drawn to her, would fall in love with her, but I'm puzzled. Back then, Mia was resigned. She was the kind of girl who brings vitality to those around her. I think anyone would be drawn to her, would fall in love with her, but I'm puzzled. Back then, Mia was already with Leo. Why did she lie to Sarah, saying that we were in a relationship? Not long after returning to the company, rumors about Sarah's mom being the mistress of a wealthy man began spreading like wildfire again. I specifically ordered everyone not to talk about it at the company, but the effect was the opposite. Because Sarah had helped the company secure a partnership through her own connections, my attempts to stop the gossip only made people believe the rumors were true. I felt both sorry and a bit heartbroken for her, remembering her timid and helpless expression from high school. I felt a pang of guilt. Now, under my watch, something like this was happening all over again. I had caused her to get hurt once more. I suggested she'd take a few days off or maybe go on a trip. I even offered to accompany her if she didn't mind, but Sarah rejected all of it. She was no longer the pitiful little girl from back then. She didn't care at all, continuing to greet people warmly and staying focused on her work. This only strengthened my belief that even if the rumor was true, Sarah was innocent. She couldn't choose who her parents were. Could she? Soon, everyone's attention was diverted when a well-established company we had just approached showed interest in partnering with us. The chairman himself wanted to come and discuss the contract. I specifically assigned Sarah to handle the entire process, hoping to give her something to focus on no matter how strong she was now. Hurt is hurt, and its essence doesn't change. Sarah ended up comforting me instead. "Don't worry, those rumors won't affect my work. I'm worried about you, not the business." When I blurted out that sentence, we were both a bit surprised. Her long eyelashes fluttered a few times, and she nodded slightly. "You really care about me?" "Of course." She gave me a deep look and then smiled warmly. On the day the chairman arrived, my partner and I waited at the entrance early, just as we were bringing him into the company. I saw a female colleague arguing with Sarah. Who do you think you are? Just the daughter of a mistress, using her mom's connections to secure a contract for the company. What's so great about that? My heart ached. It was painful to hear such words, and Sarah had been enduring them for years. Do you really know her? I walked over and shielded Sarah behind me. Sarah's workability is evident to everyone. Denying her competence because of these rumors, too much. Now apologize to her. The colleague stiffened her neck, clearly ready to fight me to the end. Sarah patted my arm and winked at me, giving a sly smile. Every time she does that, I feel uneasy. There's no way she doesn't care. She's just putting on a brave face. But the next second, I saw her walk lightly over to the chairman, link arms with him, and say affectionately, "Mom, you're here. Are you tired?" Huh? The room fell silent, and whispers of disbelief filled the air. She was the daughter of the chairman of the mega group. With Sarah's help, the partnership was successfully secured. After sending everyone off, I asked Sarah, "Why didn't you tell me about your relationship with the chairman? That way those nasty rumors wouldn't have spread." She glanced at me, blushed, and quickly lowered her head. Take a guess. I was left speechless. I think I'm starting to understand. Sarah told me there was an interested buyer for the house, so I had to go back and move everything out. As I got closer, I felt a strange sense of displacement, like stepping into a different world. Even the ads in the elevator hadn't changed. To my surprise, Mia was still living there. When she saw me, her face lit up with a smile. "You're back. Was work tiring? Good thing I bought groceries today. I'll cook, and you can stay for dinner." Her tone was so natural, as if nothing had ever happened between us. Maybe she didn't realize it, but the more she acted like this, the more it showed how much had already changed between us. Before, she'd never speak to me in such a sweet way. She wouldn't buy groceries, much less cook. She was trying to win me back, though I couldn't understand why. "No need. I'm just here to move my things. This house has already been sold." Mia stopped what she was doing. "Are you really breaking up with me? Are you with Sarah now?" I nodded. "I've always been serious about us breaking up. Didn't you see her? Like a social butterfly, flitting around those men." Looking at Mia, I realized that all these years, I'd never really known her. "Mia, did Sarah really steal things back in school? Did she actually tell you that her mom was a mistress?" She still insisted yes, but there was a fleeting moment of guilt in her eyes. Why has Mia become like this? I couldn't understand. Even if we weren't together, I still wanted her to be okay. "Mia, you know very well that Sarah's mom is the chairman of the mega group." She looked at me in horror, her eyes darting away. I couldn't have known that. She'd been to Sarah's house. How could she not know? How could she bear to hurt her best friend? To harm someone so awesome? At that moment, my disappointment in her hit its peak. I didn't want to say another word. "Leave. I'll have someone send your things to you." She wavered, leaning against the wall for support, her lips trembling. "You don't want me anymore?" "Yes. Hero, I interrupted her before saying something I'd regret. She clutched her chest, laughing bitterly. "Hero, do you think no one else would want me besides you?" She shoved me aside, slamming the door so hard it echoed. The next day, as soon as I arrived at the office, Sarah stopped me, pointing to my office. "Mia's waiting inside?" As soon as I pushed the door open, Mia shoved a bright red invitation into my hand. "Leo and I are getting married next week. You're invited." I looked at the invite and carefully put it away. "Congrats!" I meant it sincerely. Mia looked at me in shock, enunciating each word. "Hero, I just told you I'm marrying another guy, and you congratulate me. Is that all you have to say?" I shook my head, signaling she could leave. Mia said nothing, just stared at me. She finally believed that I truly wanted to break up with her, not as a threat, not as a tantrum. She spoke softly again. "Hero, do you really want to break up with me? Even if I sincerely admit my mistakes now?" Yes. I was absolutely certain. Her whole body stiffened. Through her tears, She searched my face for any sign of reluctance, but there was none. She walked out without a word, her back straight. Sarah was standing at the door, looking at me with concern. Did you know back then that it was Mia who spread those rumors? Why didn't you clear it up? She shrugged. There was no need. Mia lost her father when she was young. I didn't want to hurt her further. Sarah is too kind, too gentle. Mia understood each of us so well that she manipulated us all. I felt deep sorrow for Sarah, but she said it didn't matter. It's all in the past, and I won't dwell on it. I thought, yes, it's all in the past. We have to look forward, don't we? I glanced at Sarah's profile, and the morning sunlight made her face look so beautiful. At that moment, I finally understood my feelings. I like Sarah. I spent a long time preparing. Every corner of the quiet restaurant bore traces of my careful arrangement. Rabbit dolls she liked, blue roses with dewdrops, and Sarah, who knew nothing of what was to come. Sarah, I like you. I don't want to miss out on you again. Please let me love you passionately and sincerely in the days to come. She burst into tears, and I cried along with her. It was wonderful. True lovers always find a way to be together. I invited Sarah to attend Mia's wedding with me. She looked at me intently. You don't have to go if you don't want to. Everything takes time, and I trust you. I sighed and gently pinched her cheek. It's really okay. The fact that I've confessed my feelings to you means that I've truly moved on. But no matter what, you grew up with me, and I've always hoped you could be happy. The wedding was held in a shabby little restaurant. The environment was terrible, and the sound of the shona, a traditional Chinese wind instrument, was so loud it drowned out all conversation. No flowers, no red carpet, not even a proper MC. Just one of Leo's relatives. None of the things Mia had once dreamed of were there. Before the wedding started, Mia, dressed in a cheap wedding dress, came to find me. I could smell the plastic of the dress and see the red rash from an allergic reaction on her shoulders. Hiro, are you really just going to watch me marry someone else? If you say you don't want me, I'll leave with you right now. I didn't respond. She was sobbing uncontrollably. Hiro, say something. Just nod, just nod. She clutched my sleeve, looking at me in desperation. Please, please, take me away. I know I was wrong. Congrats on your wedding. Her movement stopped, and she suddenly started laughing. But then, as she laughed, she began to cry again. Leo came over, his face full of anger, and dragged her away, scolding her as they walked off. Halfway through the wedding, someone got drunk and started shouting, apparently one of Leo's friends. He was spouting obscenities. Leo, you lucky bastard, look at the bride's big chest and big ass. Come on, tell us, how does it feel? Someone else laughed loudly, egging him on. Mia looked at Leo for help, but he just looked proud, rubbing his fingers together and saying, Of course my girl feels amazing. He didn't seem to think his friend was insulting his wife. If anything, he seemed proud that Mia was being ogled. Mia's face went pale, tears welling up in her eyes. She lowered her head, standing silently, as if she'd fallen into a bottomless pit. I didn't want to see any more, so I quickly took Sarah and left. After that, I heard less and less about Mia. One day, a friend insisted on dragging me to a bar to celebrate his birthday. I couldn't refuse without killing the mood, so I went along. To my surprise, I saw Leo with 2 women on his arms. The women took turns kissing him, making him laugh heartily. He pulled a watch and a bracelet out of his pocket and gave them away without a second thought. I recognized those items. They were things I'd bought for Mia. I didn't want to get involved. How they lived their lives was their business, not mine. But I lost any desire to stay, so I made an excuse and left, waiting by my car for a ride. Leo came out and spotted me. He staggered over. Hiro, you drive such a nice car, but what good is being successful if you can't even keep a woman? To me, you're just a failure. I didn't respond to his taunt. Leo, if you're sick, you should drink less. After all, it's your body. If you don't take care of it, you're the one who'll suffer. He was clearly very drunk and sneered. I'm not sick. It was all fake. Do you know what a strategist is? The system made me seduce Mia. Your wedding day was my deadline. If I didn't succeed, I would die, but I pulled it off, and now I'm living the high life. You've liked her for so many years, so I guess you'll keep an eye on her. Right, marrying her wasn't a bad deal at all. I stared at him, speechless. How drunk have you gotten? I couldn't quite grasp Leo's confession, nor had I ever heard of such a thing before. I had someone look into it. The information came back quickly. Leo had racked up significant gambling debts a week before my wedding with Mia. He was nearly beaten to death by debt collectors and received dozens of critical condition notices within 2 days. The doctors were ready to give up on saving him, yet he somehow held on long enough to show up at my wedding with Mia. Then he took Mia away. The bizarre part was that the next day, Leo was miraculously cured and discharged from the hospital. I had no choice but to believe what he said was true, that life and death were at the mercy of some system. So Leo's claim of having cancer was a lie. But the debt was real. I should have explained all this to Mia, but I also knew she wouldn't believe me. Not a single word. In this tug-of-war of emotions, I lost. But not to Leo's scheming. It was simply because Mia didn't love me enough. But it's okay because now I have someone who loves me. I moved to a new place and started living with Sarah. We were very happy together. I didn't hide what Leo had told me from Sarah, and she was just as shocked as I was. One day, while we were cooking together, Mia showed up. I had no idea how she found our address. She seemed uneasy, hesitating to speak. I waited patiently. Sarah, curious, called out from the living room. "Hero, who's at the door? Why don't they come in?" Mia stammered. "I came to find a photo. It wasn't among the things you returned to me. Maybe it's still here." I let her in. We searched the study together and eventually found it inside a fairy tale book. It was a photo we'd taken on the first day she moved into our home as a child. Mia carefully touched the photo, thanked me, and started to leave. I quickly turned to Sarah and reassured her. "I'm sorry, it must have been packed by mistake. You believe me, right?" She laughed and patted me on the shoulder. "Relax, don't be silly." "But didn't Mia seem off? Did you notice the bruises on her arms? Should we check on her?" I nodded and took her downstairs. A crowd had gathered, pointing and whispering. Leo's angry voice echoed. "I told you to get money, and you bring back a photo. What the hell is this good for? Those debt collectors are at our doorstep, and you're trying to get me killed. Hero is loaded. Why didn't you just ask him for it? Are you going or not?" As he spoke, he slapped Mia hard, knocking her to the ground. Mia didn't make a sound, closing her eyes and silently enduring Leo's punches. Sarah tugged on my sleeve. "Should we help her?" I pulled out my phone, called the police, and requested an ambulance. Sarah looked at me confused. I explained, giving them money would only enable Leo and keep them tied together. This is the only way to help her. I watched as they led Mia and Leo away. "She'll figure it out. Mia isn't stupid. She's always loved herself too much." I turned to Sarah and sincerely thanked her. Thank you for always thinking of me first." Since that day, I haven't seen or heard about Mia and Leo, nor have I sought any news of them. I cherish every day with Sarah. We visited our old school, though we couldn't find any trace of our old classroom. Still, we were happy because it was where we first met. We went horseback riding together in the summer. She looked so gallant, and she said I was so graceful. We left our love on the vast prairie. In winter, we went to the snow-capped mountains, bundled up like little cotton balls, huddled close together. We made love in the warmth of our home and wished to return with our children in 5 years. When Sarah and I decided to get married, I went to see her parents alone, sought their opinion, and got their approval along with the family register. At an outdoor restaurant in front of our friends and family under a shower of falling petals, I knelt on one knee and said to her, "Sarah, I love you so much. Will you marry me?" She burst into tears, held out her hand, and said, "Yes, I will." Our wedding was held in the height of summer. There were beautiful flower arches, the most stunning wedding dress, and everything I wanted to give her. As I carried Sarah out of the car, I thought I saw a familiar figure in the crowd, but when I looked again, there was no one. I didn't pay it any mind and carried Sarah forward with confident strides. In the second semester of my sophomore year, a transfer student named Sarah joined our class. She was very quiet, extremely beautiful, but not very talkative, and her grades were top-notch. Later, some classmates noticed she was often picked up and dropped off by luxury cars. Because of these rumors, she became even more silent and had no friends. But Mia started sticking to her like glue, and I occasionally got to talk to her. In my memory, Sarah was particularly gentle, with dimples when she smiled. One day, on the way home, Mia secretly told me that Sarah's mom was the mistress of a rich guy, although I was surprised. I knew it wasn't right to comment on someone else's private affairs and reminded Mia not to spread it around. But somehow, the rumor spread, and everyone knew about it. Mia even blamed me in front of Sarah for spreading it. To prove my innocence, I investigated the source of the rumor. To my shock, it pointed back to both Mia and me. I could swear on anything that I never said a word, not even in my sleep. Given how fiercely Mia accused me, she obviously didn't say anything either. Could someone have overheard us talking? In the end, the matter was left unresolved. Sarah soon transferred to another school, and we only heard occasional updates about her winning awards, going abroad, but no one knew the specifics. Hiro was always very considerate toward me, gentle like water, always looking after me, telling me to drink more water, not to stay out late. Sometimes it annoyed me, but Leo was different. Always rebellious, with a carefree attitude. I was deeply captivated by the way he looked at me with those clear eyes. He said, "A girl who hasn't skipped class isn't complete. A girl who hasn't snuck into an internet cafe isn't complete. A girl who hasn't hooked up with a guy in high school isn't complete." He really knew a lot. He knew exactly what I wanted. I didn't want to follow so many rules, nor did I care about going to a good school. After all, Hiro would take care of me. So it made sense that I fell in love with Leo, didn't it? When Leo wanted to break up with me, I completely panicked. "Mia, I have nothing. No family background like Hiro, no good grades like Hiro. So you should be with him." For the first time, I fought with Hiro because of his controlling nature. When I ran out of the house, I felt a sense of freedom. So when Leo offered to take me for a ride, I agreed. But that day, I had a car accident so severe that I was bedridden for 5 years. Hiro took care of me for those 5 years. He kept saying he was sorry for not going out to look for me the night I ran away. The more he said it, the more I started to believe it was his fault. I was afraid he wouldn't take care of me anymore. So I kept telling him, "Hiro, when I get better, I'll marry you. I'll wear the most beautiful wedding dress and be the most stunning bride. And you'll give me the perfect wedding." But the day before our wedding, Leo asked to see me. "Mia, I'm sorry I haven't visited you. I have cancer. I don't have long. I heard you're getting married. Here's the money I've saved over the years. Not much. Just 80,000 won. I'm giving it all to you. I hope you'll be happy." I was resentful toward him, but he was dying. Yet the next day, Leo appeared at the wedding looking weak, and I realized I wasn't angry anymore. I wanted to spend his last days with him. Hiro would surely understand. We had a whole lifetime ahead of us. I never expected to see Sarah again, let alone that Hiro would break up with me for her. I questioned Hiro again and again, unable to believe that he wouldn't tolerate me like he used to. I married Leo out of spite. Strangely, despite Leo's serious illness, he recovered after we got married. I was happy for him since Hiro no longer wanted me. I had to find my own happiness. But not long after the wedding, a large group of people came to our house demanding money from Leo. It turned out Leo had been hiding his gambling habit from me. He took all my jewelry and savings, but it was far from enough. Leo started hitting me, demanding that I ask Hiro for money. It hurt so much that I swallowed my pride and went to ask. But when I saw Sarah there, I couldn't bring myself to do it. I secretly attended Hiro and Sarah's wedding. Everything was more perfect than I had ever imagined. They looked so right together. I slipped away quietly. For more than 2 years, no matter how much Leo beat or scolded me, I never went to see them again. One day, when I got home from work, the door was open and I heard embarrassing moans coming from inside. This wasn't the first time Leo had brought a woman home, but suddenly I couldn't bear it anymore. I went to find Hero again. Life had worn me down to the point where I had no shame left. Uncle and Auntie were there too. They had aged so much, their hair graying at the temples. I hung my head in embarrassment, tears streaming down my face. Uncle said, "Come in, if you need help, come home. I may be old, but I can still stand up for you." It felt like a slap in the face, and I was overwhelmed with shame. What had I been doing all these years? How could I have hurt these people who genuinely loved me? The divorce was actually quite easy. Leo tried to demand a huge sum, but after going through legal procedures, he only got a portion of our marital assets. Leo wasn't just an ordinary person. He was extremely vile, and I had put him on a pedestal. I sincerely bowed to Sarah. "I'm sorry for what I did to you before. I hope you can forgive me." She smiled quietly, just like she used to. "I never blamed you. Congrats. And I hope you live well." I got a new job and visited Uncle and Auntie whenever I could. Life is now stable and fulfilling.
Dude, if you tried the finest Yorkshire tea, it would change your life a billion times. I don't know, man. Like, how much caffeine is in tea? In your finest Yorkshire tea? Like, I'm not a big coffee drinker anymore, at least. But when I lived in Washington State, I was. This coffee is massive there. And you know,
Be advised, we're taking casualties.
us 40 to 60 milligrams. What brand do you recommend? Yes, I want to know. If I can get it on Amazon. Can I get it on Amazon in the States? It's the real question. I'll try it. I'll give it a go. My wife started ordering dish soap from overseas on Amazon called Fairy, I think it is. And she said it was like really big somewhere overseas. Fairy liquid, yep, that is what we use now. Very much English.
Come on! Grab this spare ammo!
I've also heard that, like, us as Americans, when we make tea, we do it completely wrong from the way you guys make it. Lost track of my keys there. Off that mortar. DMR.
We have Bravo under attack.
You know, sneaky there, huh? don't gotta be so sneaky, sis. Tea bag in the cup, then hot water. Stir, let the tea bag sit for a moment, then add milk, then squeeze the bag and remove. Possessed! How's work going?
Our forces
How's it
suffered 50%
going?
losses.
Have you taken your nightly nap at work yet? I hope you have earbuds in while I said that. Or I just dimed you out. Oh, have you heard back about the interview?